Rob J gave me an incredibly generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon and brings you today's video. Eladamri versus Lord Skitter. With a one-lander. If that was a forest, we'd be alright there, but unfortunately not. So mulligan down to a forest, and this time we have no mana dorks available. Yeah, I don't even know what we can crop rotate for there. I think we're going to have to mulligan again. Wow. Yeah, we just can't get into the Greenlands apparently. Let's keep this. Get rid of the Cityscape and the Worm Coil. And make sure to keep our mana. Maybe should have kept a big creature for the Eladamri, I'm not sure. It's first time playing this deck. And there's a Thoughtseize getting rid of our Sylvan Library, so we're going to do absolutely nothing this game, I think. Got rid of the Summoner's Pact actually. Another colourless land, wow. Again, I have net decked this, so I'm not sure how many colourless lands are actually in the deck. I'll have a look. Yeah, there's only 14 basic forests, 35 lands in the deck. It might be that we've got way too many colourless lands here. Anyway, a Dorothy Voidwalker. Getting 2 Birds of Paradise too late. I think I'd take my chances of getting into a means of a green source of mana off the top 3 with Sylvan Library, so let's go for that here instead of the Birds of Paradise. And now Gix, Yawgmoth Praetor into play, and we take a hit for 3 from the Dorothy Voidwalker. We'll never be able to block that one. So paying 1 life to draw a card puts them up to 4 cards in hand, 17 life. And let's see what's in the top 3 cards of our library. A Vaultborn Tyrant, and then there's a forest. We've got Delighted Halfling as well, so do we want to take 4 life here? We're taking 6 next turn, which means it's 10 life, taking us down to 7. Put Vaultborn on top for certain. Next turn we'll have 3, 4, 5 mana potentially, but we're going to be way too slow already here, I think. Let's just do it. Got off to a terrible start, of course, so Delighted Halfling. Eladamri is going to have Summoning Sickness when it comes down as well. That's why I'm thinking that we're not going to have anywhere close to enough time to get anything done here. Can't remember how much the Vaultborn Tyrant is now, actually. Is it 7 mana? Yeah, 7 mana, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 next turn. Oh, and there's there's a Force of Despair. Destroy all creatures that entered this turn. So what did they exile for that? Exiled a Snarling Gorehound. So definitely not destined to do anything this game. Lord Skitter comes into play and can exile our Summoner's Pact. And then we take hit for 6, going down to 7. Our opponent likely gains some card advantage here and goes down to 15 himself. So we know that the Vaultborn Tyrant is on top. Let's see if there's... I don't see that we're going to do much of anything else here. 3 visits is far too late. So, put these on top. Likely just take the damage next turn. So play the Cave and the Forest. Tap for mana. 3 visits, shuffles those cards away. And grab ourselves an untapped green source. Throw out the Commander and await our demise. Interesting to see if our opponent has any kind of removal for the Commander. And on top of the library is just a forest, which pretty much sums up the game, as does that. A Defile gets rid of the Commander. We'll just concede it there and try again, I think. Here's hoping for a better opening hand. We've got a forest into birds at least, so let's try that. Might be that our opponent can remove it straight away, because I'm assuming that mana dorks are pretty commonplace in dual Commander without the fast mana. Hive of the Eye Tyrant comes into play untapped, and it's an Inquisition of Kozilek onto us, which is the crop rotation here. And yet another colourless land with the Yavimaya Hollow, so we'll just throw down the Hollow and might as well get our Commander into play, ready to eat some removal. I imagine they'll point the removal at Eladamri as opposed to the Birds of Paradise. See a Gwenet on top as well, which we'll hopefully be able to cast next turn. That was a Contagion to blow something up. I assume the Birds of Paradise and then Sheoldred's Edict puts our Commander back in the command zone. Exiled to the Contagion. A Vampire Hexmage, so 3 cards left in hand. And we do know what we're drawing into. Luckily it only costs 1 green mana, so Field of Ruin, throw out the Gwenet. And I think instead of our Commander I'll likely get down the Avenging Hunter next turn, assuming that we can do anything at all. Because we'll be able to get much more advantage out of taking the initiative here, I think. So Lord Skitter comes into play and gets rid of the Birds of Paradise from our graveyard. So we do manage to keep our mana dork in play, thankfully. A Tech Edge. Can't believe the number of colourless lands we're drawing into here. And it's a plus counter on Gwenna and untap it when we cast a creature with power 5 or greater, or is it CMC? It's power 5 or greater. So we take the initiative when it enters, that's now a decent blocker as well. So venture into the Undercity when it enters, search for a basic land, put it into our hand, and we'll play that as our land for the turn. And we will pass at that, I think. Might even be able to get down the Great Henge next turn. Alright, Rankle can have us sacrifice something, but I'll probably keep the Avenging Hunter. Getting rid of the crop rotation with the Lord Skitter, they make another rat token. And just swinging in with the Rankle, we can't block it. So they managed to steal the initiative away from us. And obviously can search up a basic swamp with that. Each player sacrifices a creature. Do we go for... so next turn we're going to have 5 power, which means this only costs us 4 mana. And it's more safe than the Gwenna. Yeah, so we'll sacrifice Gwenna. Obviously, creatures kind of go down quite quickly to black, but artifacts not so much. And there's a Tranquil Frillback as well, so we will go for the Great Henge straight away. Maybe could have gone for Tech Edge into that actually, to leave this untapped so that we could regenerate the Avenging Hunter. Maybe that would have been an idea. I was thinking of casting the Frillback to get a card draw actually, but we'll swing in with everything here. If he loses out on the Lord Skitter, then so be it. I don't think he's going to block with his commander in all honesty, especially if he's expecting us to edict it out of the way with Rankle. So we take the initiative ourselves, they do not block. That is more plus counters onto this thing, making it more difficult. Although we could scry, couldn't we, I think? Yeah, we could scry, create treasure tokens, go to creature. I think I'd rather have a player lose 5 life, so we'll go for Forge instead, which is plus counters onto the only creature that we've got in play. Pretty good to throw it on a trample creature as well. Might make them think twice about swinging into us. So drop a land, 2 mana and 2 life, and that is a Tranquil Frillback. Not able to pay any additional mana into this, but it is just a blocker to have in play, and plus we can potentially swing in with it next turn, start dealing some more damage. Plus the fact that we get a plus counter and draw a card. Alright, could go for something if we want to, because that's the additional mana that we'd need. Exile a graveyard, I don't think really matters. Yeah, I think we'll just keep hold of the Elvish Spirit Guide. Obviously getting this into play is protecting against the Edict effect from the Rankle as well. So next turn we've got 2, 4, 6 and 7 mana. 8 with the Elvish Spirit Guide, so maybe Craterhoof is going to get us the victory. Going straight through the turn again. And exiles the only card in our graveyard. Then only turning in with Rankle, might as well keep the rat in play, because it's just going to get chump blocked anyway. So we take hit for 3, they take the initiative from us. And it's each player sacrifices a creature again with the Rankle on the stack. Plus counters on the Rankle as well. Frillback, obviously the one to get sacrificed here. Now with 3 cards in hand, even if we go Craterhoof, they could always blow this up in response. But we at least draw a card to Craterhoof as well, and we're forcing them to have the answer. Alright, well, so much for that. Hymn to Torak gets rid of the 2 cards that were in our hand, so we're in top deck mode. Unless we feel like getting down our commander, which I suppose will cantrip us. There is an endurance for us, so let's go for our commander I think. And we can hold up regenerate onto the Avenging Hunter. Now that the game's going into the long game, hopefully be able to keep the 7/6 trample in play. And Emerald Medallion is on top, we're not particularly interested in that, but it clears it off the top at least. And now seeing a Servalk's Tome. When that enters, we take the initiative there as well. Swing in with the 7/6. Didn't decide to put plus counters on Lord Skitter to make it a better blocker, but now decided to chump with Lord Skitter, which is very telling, so we'll assume that they don't have a means of any destruction magic. They've got a Not Dead after all, this doesn't have Death Touch or anything. Does this give Death Touch? When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped with a Wicked Roll token, that's fine. Still get some trample damage through here, and we take the initiative as well. The Wicked Roll token is lose 1 life when it's put into the bin, +1/+1 on the commander as well. And our opponent is down to 10, so he's going to have to think twice about attacking in at us, I think. So we'll say trap, and 5 damage to our opponent. There's Cave over here, I'm not sure if we'd see Cabal Coffers. Alright, a Turak Dread Canter. I don't know if they've kicked that by the looks of it. So we're going to have to discard 2 Yeah, 2 cards to that again. Luckily, they're not too relevant. The Endurance, shuffling Kraytooth into the library would have been good, or just putting them on the bottom of the library would have been good, but Kraytooth was going to get exiled this turn either way. So it's plus counters onto this, and our opponent might be starting to stabilise here. 0 cards in hand at least. Makes a rat token. Gets rid of the Kraytooth as we expected. And then Rankle hits us for 5. Takes the initiative from us, so it's likely that we will have to lose 5 as well. Yeah, so the Undercity has us lose 5 life, and the Edict effect from Rankle is going to be consistent because obviously they can keep sacking the rat tokens, so get rid of the Commander. Not likely that we're going to do anything about creatures in a mono green deck. So with this we take the initiative, so might as well get it into play here I think. And that doesn't allow us into anything too relevant. It's the archives, we get to draw a card. Alright, there's a Tyrannus Rex, which could give our opponent a headache next turn. We're going to encourage our opponent to make some blocks here at least. Maybe should have tried to get through for taking the initiative and then played this afterwards. Maybe that would have been the best play to make there. We can regenerate the Avenging Hunter here though. Not going to get through any damage whatsoever, and we can hope that our opponent isn't going to take us out next turn. So we'll keep our creature in play and encourage them to keep sacrificing stuff, just so that they don't get too many rats into play. We lose a life to the Wicked Roll token going into the bin. Alright, so time to see if we lose here. Now, of course, forgot about the Manland. So that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage to us straight away. So yeah, I think the only thing we really could have done there, maybe could have held this back as a blocker, but I think they were going wide on us anyway. I think the only thing we could have done was try to get damage through with the dragon. Maybe they don't double block, and then we can go for this afterwards. Yeah, maybe that was the play to make there. But I think that's one of the better games that we've had of Duel Commander, so if you want to see more from Eladamri, or if you want to see more Duel Commander in general, you have to be very patient with me, because it'll take me a long time to learn the format and how to actually play. But if you do want to see more, then let me know as ever. Massive thank you to the patrons for their financial support of the channel. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.